Hey y'all, I am Kath. Welcome back to my Vlogmas. I'm doing all sorts of videos all month long. As I'm sure you probably know if you have any type of social media, Taylor Swift graced us with another album last night, Evermore, the sister album to Folklore. So me, being the Swiftie that I am, gave it a listen and it was an experience. I ended up writing a little bit while I was listening to it, just like jotting down my favorite lyrics and whatnot. So I'm doing a little bit of an album review today. This isn't a very theoretical review. All my piano lesson things are filed away in the same part of my brain as the Pythagorean theorem. So this is just a chill, laid back review giving y'all my thoughts. If you're new here, I would absolutely love to have you subscribe and hang out with me for the rest of the month and maybe even beyond that. I'm just gonna go through, talk about each song, and then I'll give you my favorite lyric from each song because I think Taylor Swift is an absolute lyrical genius. So the album opens with the song Willow, which I think a lot of people like. It's like, I like it. It's definitely a very catchy one. Like the, you know, my train could take you home, anywhere else is hollow. Like the whole, like the chorus of it is very catchy. The verses, like just something about the way the melody and the beat is structured, it feels really akin to the song Mad Woman from Folklore. Just like this bit. The more that you say, the less I know. It feels similar to this bit. And women like hunting witches too. So my favorite lyric from this song is, you know that my train could take you home, anywhere else is hollow. I like this lyric because throughout the album, I think Taylor really explores the concept of like a person being home. I like the consistency of that theme throughout the album, and I think that it's said very prettily in this song. The next song is Champagne Problems. This song has beautiful piano in it. I love piano and like strings, like violin and viola and all of that in the background of a song are like my two favorite things. I think they're so beautiful. This is the first one that is kind of in the same vein of Folklore, where it's like the storytelling, and Taylor said that she wrote these songs sort of talking about a character and their story. So this is basically a story about a couple who, it kind of hints that they've been together since college or maybe even before that, and they had this night that they were going to, and one of them was planning on proposing and the other one was planning on breaking up with them. It's emotionally charged, and it like I can feel the devastation, and I just like, it paints a beautiful picture. Like I could see the place where the party was and the people all in my mind while listening to it. My two favorite lyrics, I can't really pick one from this one, are "You had a speech, you're speechless, love slipped beyond your reaches." I think Taylor's really good at like repeating words, or like slightly repeating words. I think there's like a technical term for it. And then I like the quote, "How evergreen our group of friends, don't think we'll say that word again." Describing a group of friends as evergreen, like I love that for some reason. Next song on the album is the song Gold Rush. Something about the like introductory instrumentals of this song especially, but like really the whole song like was similar to Lana Del Rey for me, but like specifically the like era when Lana Del Rey was doing songs for the Big Eyes movie. My favorite lyric from this is, "I don't like to fall, it feels like flying to the bone." She's just so good at painting pictures in your head. Next song, "'Tis the Damn Season." Oh my god. I really like this one. This seems like it's about going home to your hometown for the holidays, and there's like that person there that you had really strong feelings for and maybe never really got over them, and then there's that lingering tension, like you know how like you'll just see like your friends from high school or whatever only over the holidays when you're home, and then every time like that person's in the group, there's that lingering tension. I think it's so good, and I mean I'm not going home for Christmas this year, so just like hearing the song, that's like making me reminisce on actually like going home and seeing friends from my past, I really liked. There was a lot of lyrics that I really liked in this one. My two favorites, The Road Less Traveled looks real good now, and it always leads to you in my hometown. Just like you go home and suddenly like all your old feelings resurface. The road will always come back to that one person when you're home. And I think again, it's kind of exploring the concept of a person feeling like home. The lyric, and wonder about the only soul who can tell which smiles I'm faking. It's just when you just have that deep connection with someone, but then you're haven't seen them or spoken to them in a while, so you don't really know what's up with them, but they still know you better than anyone. I think those are two really fantastic lyrics. Next song is Tolerate It. This one has a lot more pretty piano in the background, which I really loved. This one paints a picture of a crumbling sort of one-sided marriage. It's just very much when one person is still in love and the other person is just over it. They're tolerating it, hence Tolerate It. The lyric, I made you my temple, my mural, my sky. Now I'm begging for footnotes in the story of your life. That's so good, and I think we've all probably felt that at some point in time. Taylor Swift wrote an essay for Elle almost 2 years ago about songwriting, and I always think about it when I'm listening to her music and other music. She just also talks about how like painting a picture with a song, and how you just have to be so honest and like so specific that the people listening don't doubt that story. They know it was true. There's no way it could be made up. And she does that every time, and I think that's why her music really connects with a lot of people, is she's painting these really vivid stories and these pictures in your head, and even though you might not connect to the literal specific details of the story, you don't relate to those, the emotion is so real that you can connect to the emotion in it. Next song is probably the most like fun one on the album. It's No Body, No Crime, and it's actually featuring Haim, the band. It starts out talking about this unhappy marriage where the wife is suspecting that the husband's cheating, and then the next verse moves on to saying that the townspeople suspect that the husband killed the wife so that his mistress could move into him, and then beyond that, there's suspicion that the mistress then kills the man so she can get his money and his life insurance policy. It's a whole story. It feels very country vibes in it, which I love. It kind of feels like old Taylor. This one I don't really have a favorite lyric from. It's not like the most lyrically genius one on the album, but it has a very catchy rhythm, instrumentals, all of that. I think it's a very fun song. Next song, Happiness. Oh my God, this song, I think this song is gonna be the Cardigan from the new album, not in terms of like, I don't think the songs are actually similar. I just think in the way that so many people are connecting to the song, and there's so much to unpack in the song. There are a ton of Great Gatsby references in this, and by a ton I mean there's like two, but The Great Gatsby is one of my favorite stories. I love the Baz Luhrmann movie. I love the book. I felt so connected to that book when I first read it in high school. The two references that I noticed, and there might be more that I just didn't pick up on, are the line, I hope she'll be a beautiful fool, because there's a line in The Great Gatsby where Daisy says about her daughter, I hope she'll be a fool. That's the best thing a girl can be in this world, a beautiful little fool. And then there's also the line, all you want from me now is the green light of forgiveness. And if you know the story of Great Gatsby, like one of the main symbols in the book is the green light on the dock. So that one's a pretty obvious reference. The song also is kind of like a callback to 7 from Folklore, because it opens up saying when I'm above the trees, which is a callback to in 7 when she's talking about swinging in the trees as a child. And then there's also the line, the price I pay for 7 years in heaven. I just know that that's intentional for her to talk about 7 years when the song also has like that sort of similar reference to 7. This was the first like major standout song on the album for me. I really love it. I listened to it twice in a row. I just like listened to the whole album in order, and I replayed this one the second it ended because I just felt it was really good. I really like this song. The next song, Dorothea, is one that a lot of people are talking about. we love when Taylor releases sapphic songs. This one is also very much a callback to Seven. It's a song that's reminiscing about a younger love and having very fond feelings for this person, even though you're not part of their life either at all or in the same capacity that you used to be. My favorite lyric in this one is, "And if you're ever tired of being known for who you know you'll always know me." There's that like major repetition with Taylor again, and I think it's, if you're ever tired of the superficial friendships in your life, you'll always have that core relationship with that person or the people who really truly know you. Next song, Coney Island, featuring the main singer from the band The National. This is a very devastating breakup song. The line, "We were like the mall before the internet, the place to be," I think that perfectly captures what it feels like for a person to be home. I think this one is pretty similar in terms of tone to the song Exile, which features Bon Iver from Folklore. It's a song about a breakup where neither party is really benefiting. Both parties are very sad about the situation, and there's a deep male voice accompanying Taylor Swift's voice, which I think that's a pretty obvious comparison. And there's a lot of repetition, and they're kind of singing over each other, which signifies that both parties aren't quite listening to each other. Definitely is like a bit of a similar vibe right there to that. My favorite line in Coney Island is, "I pushed you to the edge, but you were too polite to leave me." Like, too polite. That's such an interesting way to phrase that. And then obviously anything that references New York is gonna feel a bit of a connection for me. Another song about a crumbling marriage is Ivy. I think it's probably significant that Ivy is a plant but also a name, because there's a lot of songs on this album that are titled as a name, and there's also Betty from the last album. That has to be intentional. The line, "My pain fits in the palm of your freezing hand," is so fantastic. I think just like when you just fit with a person, again, a person is home. This song is very much about an affair. It does feel very sapphic because it's very intentional that there's a husband involved in this, but then it's not specifying the gender of anyone else involved. I also loved the line, "I'd live and die for moments that we stole on begged and borrowed time," just when your moments with a person are that significant to you. Cowboy Like Me, it's the story of people with dark pasts meeting and becoming enamored by each other. There's a line in it, "Now you hang from my lips like the gardens of Babylon." Like, that is so vivid and so beautiful. That's definitely my favorite line in the song. Wasn't my favorite song on the album. Like, I would definitely, if I had to rank them in order, that one would be closer to the bottom, but again, still paints a really great story, still a really good song. The concept of like these two people with like these dark pasts coming together and being perfect for each other because they recognize that darkness within each other reminds me of the song Getaway Car especially, and then it also reminds me of the line, "My reputation has never been worse, so you must like me for me." The next song I really like a lot. This one is also a bit more of a peppier song than like a lot of the other ones on the album, but it's just still like talking about a sad thing. And I mean, falling from a pedestal right down the rabbit hole. Such a picture once again. My favorite line is, "I always felt I must look better in the rear view." That's just like you always think like it's like the grass is greener, but the grass is greener in the past, not on the other side. The way she writes it, long story short, it was a bad time. I really love the simplicity of the line in this song because I think it's just the fact that like some things are just too painful to talk about. You don't want to talk about them, you don't want to relive that, and so you just, long story short, it was a bad time. Next song, Marjorie, is this really touching story about missing somebody, presumably a grandmother. I thought it was a really weird coincidence. My great-grandmother was named Marjorie, and she did actually pass away earlier this year, so it's very odd coincidence for the song about presumably a dead grandmother also to be called Marjorie. This song just like really talks about like both the feeling of regret of not spending more time with a passed away person, but also feeling that the person is still there with you in spirit. I love sort of like the little, spirituality of the song. The line, or it's almost a whole verse. And I complained the whole way there, the car ride back and up the stairs. I should have asked you questions. I should have asked you how to be. I'm assuming that means I complained the whole way to the funeral and all the way back from the funeral about not spending enough time with this person. And that's definitely, like, if you've ever lost anyone, especially a family member, you know, like, as soon as they're gone, you just know you have so many questions and things you never got to ask them and never got to learn about them. And it's just such a universal feeling to feel that loss. I think everyone who experiences that at some point in their life experiences that type of regret, and it just is painted so familiarly. Next song, second to last song, is called Closure. This is it's a song about very, like, unresolved feelings, kind of like 'tis the damn season. It has really pretty strings in the back of it, which I absolutely love. My favorite line in this is, "Don't treat me like some situation that needs to be handled. I'm fine with my spite and my tears and my beers and my candles." Like, you'd rather just be mad at the person than have it be resolved and get the closure there. This is definitely, I felt like a very familiar situation to one that I was in a while ago. This album was just fantastic. Like, it made me think of so many people throughout the course of the album. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a song on this album that made me think of every single person I've had a crush on since I was 15 years old. Just a big range of emotions to feel in the course of an hour. Last song on the album had me absolutely sobbing. Evermore, featuring Bon Iver. It's the title track of the album, but it's the last song on the album. It has this very, like, hopeful feeling to the instrumental introduction, but this is a song that is definitely about depression, which I obviously felt very connected to. I've been pretty open on here. I haven't really talked about it as much lately because I'm like, yeah, everyone's fucking depressed in 2020. I don't need to talk about my depression, but depression is something that I have and I'm struggled with all throughout college, and there's a lot of regret around that. And I think this song so perfectly captures, like, how it feels when you're really deep in it. You don't feel like you're ever getting out of that. My favorite line on this was, "I rewind the tape, but all it does is pause. On the very moment all was lost." That really just paints, I have spent so much time going, like, through old pictures and videos and notes and messages, just, like, wishing, like, if I could take a pill or something and wake up and be 16 or 18, or honestly at this point, if I could wake up in January. There's so much I would do differently. All it does is make you think about the moments where things were lost. There's a huge tonal change in the bridge, which is where Bon Iver comes in. There's also the line, "Can we just get a pause to be certain we'll be tall again?" Just asking for, like, just a slight break in the feeling of being depressed, so you know you'll be better, you know you'll be tall again. And I mean, I also felt kind of similar to This Is Me Trying from Folklore, in the sense that it's talking about, like, the depression and the burnout, but This Is Me Trying felt a little more centralized around another person, but this was just about you and yourself. I should probably just make a whole other video talking about, like, mental health and everything at some point in time. I literally did my whole senior thesis on my experiences with depression throughout college and just the way that it feels, and I have yet to actually really put that out into the world, so maybe that'll be something that I finally do over the course of Vlogmas. But yeah, on that really fun, spectacular note, that was me giving my thoughts on every single song on Evermore. Never done a video like this, so I hope it was kind of fun. I'm not a professional music reviewer, so I don't 100% know what I'm talking about, and I also wanted to keep it somewhat concise. I'm pretty sure this video is still gonna be over 20 minutes long, but we'll see. But that is it. Those are all my thoughts. I'd love to know what your favorite song and your favorite lyrics are on the album if you've listened to it yet. I'm assuming if you've made it this far in the video, you've actually listened to the album. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, my ramblings. I love y'all. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.